Hey everybody, what's up? Circus coming at you with a meta-analysis deck profile video. I got Mithyard joining me today, and we're going to be doing Evilizer from the new box. Everybody's looking at Witchcrafters as the hot new deck. I've played a little bit of both, and I'm liking Evilize. How about you, Mithyard?
I like it rely more than every other deck from the new box.
Yeah, why is that?
It's like the aspect of the deck is very satisfying for me. It's finally a deck in Duel Links that I enjoy playing a lot. Every single step you make need to be either perfect or you lose. You need to control the board, the situation, as much as possible to the further extent.
Okay. So we were talking a little bit before we got started here, and this is more of a control deck, right?
Yes, definitely control deck. If you like wanted to play some rush decks, the one like OTK in 2-3 turns, this is not a deck for you. This deck is like you control the board, you every time you look for a situation to go for lethal. But if you are unsure about that, you control the board more and more until you find that like the light and you follow the light to go for lethal play.
Okay. Well, let's take a look at the deck here. We'll just start right at the beginning. We got the Medusa, right? Why don't you explain a little bit about what she does?
Is a great card. It has a great. Both effects are pretty good. The first effect is when the normal summon, you retrieve an Evil card from the graveyard to your hand, which is not useful turn one, but every turn after, it is
Oh,
so
yeah.
useful.
Yep. Yep.
And second effect, the whole Evil Eye deck revolves around Evil Eye Celine, the equip card. So like every single card has one effect, but if you have Celine also on the board, you have some bonus effects. So Medusa bonus effect is that you, it's quick effect, so you can activate it during either player's turn. You banish a monster from opponent's graveyard, and you can already see how important this is against, for example,
Oh, it's
our
just devastating, isn't it? It's just,
yeah. How important it is like against Shiranui. You
yeah.
just banish their tuner. And because they're not playing Gold Sarcophagus anymore, they're pretty dead if you
Or
banish
Light
two of their
Sworns.
tuners.
Light Sworns, they do the thing where they discard a card and then they can bring a tuner out of the grave and they have to
Yeah,
target it. And as soon as they target that tuner, you banish it.
yes. And
Yes, it's great.
Crystons, they activate Soulfafnir in the graveyard, they pay the cost, they discard the card, but you just banish that Soulfafnir, and they get nothing. And they already used Soulfafnir, so they
Yep.
cannot use it again. So yeah, Medusa is pretty devastating card in the meta. Unfortunately, there are such cards as Fiendish Chain, Floodgate, and any Ballista, and a lot of backward cards.
Well, another thing about this deck, and I don't know if you want to get into this now or not, but there is a cost to a lot of this, and you're paying life points, and you can kill yourself, and you can do it rather quickly too.
Yes, if we look at Evil Eye Celine, the next card I would like to talk before
Yeah, yeah.
anything else, this is the Ultra Rare, the most expensive card from the new box. And yes, we only play two because somehow it breaks. After testing a lot, I feel like Evil Eye Celine is break at 3.
And you can
Uh,
search it, kind of.
Yes, you can search it very easily with another grip spell. The Evil Eye of Selene make your monster an improved version of Invoked Casitas. It cannot be targeted by card effects, cannot be destroyed by card effects, but also cannot be destroyed by battle. Casitas can be destroyed by battle. Your Evil Eye equipped with Selene cannot. Also, every time you activate either the equipped monster effect or any Evil Eye spell or trap card, the Selene boosts that monster permanently by 500 attack points at the cost of 500 of your life points. So basically, take your life points that I don't need that, just give them to my monster. And even if Selene leaves the field, the attack boost remains same. So if you like pay 2,000 life points for this effect, and your opponent Cosmic Cyclone your Selene, yes, he can Cosmic Cyclone Selene, unfortunately, but the attack boost will not go anywhere.
Right, and I think that right there is the biggest con of the deck, and we can get into that later. Is this card can be targeted? It's not built into the effect of the monster. It's a separate card. So no, they can't. Let's say banish your card with Magician's Circle, right? But they can just take out your spell, and then you're just kind of stuck.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem. But there is a way to like dodge Cosmic Cyclone, for example, if you go first. But I'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Next important card is Super Rare card, the Field Spell. It's actually a very cute card, if you think about this, because it creates the most degenerate way of winning duels. When
And
this card is activated, you search for Evil Eye Monster. We have the Medusa, usually, and Basilisk if you already have the Medusa. That's another monster. We're going to
right.
talk about that a bit later. It search for an Evil Eye Monster, and if you control a Selene in a spell and trap zone, you the battle damage you take from the battle, you can inflict that damage to your opponent.
Which is
So, for example,
hilarious.
yes, let's say you are losing the duel. Like, unfortunately, yes, you break, not quite break, but
Yeah.
like your opponent had a better hand. That happens. He's just a better player. But you activate the effect of field spell, you take the damage, your opponent take the damage, and that's a draw.
Yeah, I actually had a legitimate draw, not like a turn 50, we stalled each other out kind of draw. This guy attacked in and killed us both at the same time. It was great because you could tell before he attacked, he read every card on my field. There was a long delay. You could tell he was reading everything, and he still attacked and killed us both. It was great.
Another effect of the field spell is rarely come into because usually your opponent will not destroy by card effect, but if they will, you just
Right.
retrieve an Evil Eye monster from the graveyard. So Medusa, retrieve an Evil Eye card, and field spell, domain, retrieve the Evil Eye monster.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing right now in the meta that we're in, or the cards that are available in Duel Links. You're going to get Cosmic more than likely, so they're banishing, they're not destroying it. I have run into a few people that try to use Rogeki Break on a few things, so occasionally you'll see someone trying to destroy, but it's usually banish.
But if we have our own way to destroy cards, and for example, that is Storm,
Yep.
you can see that card at 3. As I said, as you can see, there is not much you can do about the back row in building in the archetype. But Storm synergized so well with the deck. Now it's back to Selene because I didn't read the last effect of Selene.
Yeah.
It says you can pay once of the life points and banish another Evil Eye spell and trap card from the graveyard except Selene and set it back on the field. So for example, let's say you set Selene and you set another card, let it be, because we read that the Palace, the Domain, and then you activate Storm. You destroy 2 cards of your opponents, and then you can banish the Palace from the graveyard to set Selene back on the field. So you're kind of not losing any advantage here.
Right. And if you guys aren't familiar with Storm, it's just basically you have to destroy as many spells and traps as you have, and then you destroy an equal amount on your opponent's side of the field.
Yes, and you can see that there is equip spells, there is continuous spell, there is field spells.
And there's ways to recover them if if you're paying attention, you know what you're doing. You can recover a lot of this stuff, so it's not like it's really costing you a whole lot.
Yes. Now let's take a look at the searchers of the archetype. First, the way to send cards to the graveyard is our monster Basilius, familiar of the Evil Eye. If you control an Evil Eye monster, you can simply special summon this card from the hand. You can only do that once per turn. So like you cannot summon Medusa and summons 2 Basilius, but I would not recommend doing that because Purgatrio is still live in the game.
Yep.
And the effect that I like is like during the main phase, you can send an Evil Eye spell and trap card from your deck to the graveyard. So there are 3 ways of playing this card. First way, you can send Selene. If you already have the Evil Eye spell and trap card, you retrieve Selene with its own effect. Second way, you can send another quick spell that we're going to talk just in a minute. And third way, you send anything you want to get back with Medusa next turn.
Right, like the trap or yeah.
Yeah, the trap, the field spell, Selene, the continuous spell, anything.
But oh, go ahead.
Or maybe you summon Basilius the previous turn, 8 state for a turn, you top deck up Medusa, and it's like, I can now basically search a card.
Basilius, I can choose what I want to get out of the grave.
Yes. Yeah, and Medusa get it back.
Now, one of the key plays that I'll use, depending on what's in your hand and everything, you bring out the Basilius, and then you send this card here, right? And this would be a good
Evil Eye Tornado. This is the searcher of the deck. Like Basilius just sends cards to the graveyard, but this card is what it make consistent. First of all, the field effect, as it is a quick spell, it has an effect on the field. First, it copies the name, so it becomes Evil Eye Selene, so it gives bonus to all your spells and traps and Medusa. And while your life points are lower than your opponent's, the equipped monster gains attack equal to the difference.
That's nice. That could be really nice.
As you can see, Selene is paying life points to get it back. Every time you activate Evil Eye card, Selene, reduce your life points too. and Gorgoneo just gonna get your monster boosted. Like you basically use your life points. Like this is might be considered as a more fair version of Dark Lords if you could like think about this.
Don't even say that. We're still recovering from the Dark Lord meta. Don't do that. We'll move on.
Life points are actually your resources, but there are no way to regain them.
That's
If they are
problem.
gone, they are gone. That's
No.
why we play Life Point Boost Alpha. We value that resource so much that we want more.
Well, have you thought of playing Diane Keto?
Or Supremacy Berry with Destiny
Right.
Draw.
Okay, and then one of the other things you can do with this card is once you send it to the grave.
Yeah, you banish this and discard another Evil Eye card, any card. And as you can see, the only non-Evil Eye card we played here are Treacherous and Storms. Because Treacherous is like still best card in the game, and Storm is your best back row destruction.
Yep.
So any card except those, you send it to the graveyard and you search for anything, any Evil Eye spell and trap. But if you want Monster, you search Palace. If you want like Disruption, you search Trap. Any case you still don't have in your hand for the full combo, and full combo, spoilers, is Medusa, Equip Spell, Trap.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, sometimes you can send this one to the grave, and if you have like the Gorgon in your hand, you can just trade. You just send it to the grave. You banish the one in the grave, and then you get to search whatever you want. So it's kind of nice that you can use any card. It doesn't say except itself. When you send the card to the grave, so you have to discard one Evil Eye card, and you can use itself. So if you have a copy in the hand and a copy in the grave, you can still do the trade and search what you want. It's nice.
The best thing I love to do with this card is when you have one in your hand, you have Basilius on the field, you send another copy of that to the graveyard, you discard that, because it can discard itself, it cannot search itself, it can discard, as the Circus said. You discard itself, you banish this from the graveyard, you discard itself, you search for Palace then search it for Medusa, and Medusa retrieve the Coup spell back.
Right.
So it's like absolutely free if you think about this.
Yeah, it's great how that works. So, but like someone was saying in our chat during one of our last tournaments, they're like, Evil Eyes are really big brained. I don't know if they're huge big brain, but I mean, there's definitely some cool combos. I think they're still being discovered right now.
Yeah, like one of the cards is Storm. What I like about Storm comparing to Double Cyclone, a lot of players liking Double Cyclone. I don't know why. If you have some troubles playing your opponent's side on your opponent's turn, I think you're playing the deck very wrongly. It's like Storm as a back row card is only for going second. If you go first already, you don't need to play through back row. Your opponent cannot finish, cannot floodgate, cannot Canada, he cannot do anything. So why do you need Double Cyclone here? You need Storm, because Storm can be activated even if your opponent doesn't control anything. You need to retrieve a monster from the graveyard with Palace, activate Storm, destroy a Palace, get back Medusa. Medusa get back anything else from the graveyard. It can even get back the destroyed Palace. You activate Palace again, you search for another Medusa. It's all about resources. Every single card in this archetype and the deck.
Because as he was saying, if the Palace is destroyed is the important part by a card effect, you get to search from it. So you're destroying it yourself. You're not banishing, you're destroying it, and then one of the effect is you can retrieve a monster. So
now let's read Treacherous. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, what is this card and what does it do? Brand new.
So if you have no traps in your graveyard, target 2 monsters on the field, destroy those targets.
Now
let's back to
real
Medusa.
quick, this is pretty cool, right? Because this card can be used multiple times in this deck.
Yes, like when I said let's read Treacherous, is actually that we really need to read Treacherous.
Yes.
Because it says if you have no traps in your graveyard. But let's read Medusa one more time, because we missed one effect. I'm doing that for the purpose.
Oh, you're doing it on purpose? I thought you forgot Mithyard.
No. So the effect we forgot, that if you decided to banish something from your opponent's graveyard on next standby phase, you are forced to banish any card from your graveyard. This is mandatory. If you have nothing in the graveyard to banish, it still activates, just you don't banish anything.
Right.
So if you activate Treacherous, you banish something from your opponents. On your standby phase, you banish that Treacherous, and you have no traps in the graveyard again. And you can use Treacherous again.
Which is great. So let's say you're playing Blue Eyes. They go turn 1, they set their White Stone, you attack into it. send it to the grave, and quickly banish it. They can't do their thing, right? And then your next turn, you can banish something from your grave, or you have to.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
which is
what's
nice.
better?
So if you did have the
Yeah.
treacherous in the grave, you just get rid of it, and it's nice.
Yes. And what's better than playing 2 treacherous? Playing
Right.
5 treacherous. That's the trap card, the Evil Eye Defeat, the best the best card in this archetype, in my opinion. Just look at what it does. Uh, if you control an Evil Eye monster, you target 1 monster on the field, or up to 2 if Evil Eye of Selene is in your spell and trap zone, and
Yep.
return them to the hand. So, like, if you set 2 cards and Selene and have Medusa, your opponent needs to play through Treacherous and through Defeat, and it's pretty hard to do.
Right.
And
Yeah. That the defeat is just great. It comes in so handy in so many different situations, and you can use it on yourself if you have to.
if you have to, you can use it on yourself. For example, you have Medusa, you activate the Gorgon, and you want a Selene. It's like, oh man, I didn't open Selene, but I have the trap card. So like you set the trap card, your opponent perform a move, you bounce their monster, and your monster, your Gorgon is sent to the graveyard. So next turn you can search for whatever you want,
Yep.
and Medusa will retrieve anything you discard with that Gorgon.
Right. Yeah. So that's what's so nice about it. It targets any monsters on the field, not your opponent's monsters. So there's little things like this in that deck you got to pay attention to that you can, I guess, make those big brain plays with like that. It's like a combo. Oh, like you just said, oh, I could just send my own guy, send the Gorgon, and the next turn I can just use that for a search. It's not super linear. There are little pathways you can find.
Yes, and one trick I would like to say how to play through Cosmic Cyclone. Like people are thinking
Yeah, you were mentioning that.
one Cosmic Cyclone and this deck is dead. Like what can it even do? Well, that's first of all not true because even if they Cosmic Cyclone your Selene, you still have your trap card bouncing for 1, and it's still pretty good. Like we don't even have cards like Compulsory Evacuation Device, and we have this in this
Mm-hmm.
archetype. And uh, how to play through Cosmic Cyclone? Well, your opponent activates Cosmic Cyclone and Selene, and you're like thinking, and you activate your trap card, bouncing your own monster. What happens here? Evil Eye Selene is an equipped card. It is equipped to a monster. As soon as that monster leave the board, Selene is sent to the graveyard immediately. It is not banished by Cosmic
Oh,
Cyclone.
okay.
So by doing this, you bounce back your Medusa, you keep your Selene in the graveyard, and next turn you have the same board again. You just make sure you just need to make sure you survive this turn.
Right. Hopefully you didn't die in the process. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a cool little trick. I'll have to remember that one.
And final card that I added, like
Mhm.
after further testing against the meta decks, is the normal rarity card, Evil Eye Repose. It is not like that great. I'm not a big fan of that, but searchable out to Casitas is pretty important. I have to admit that.
Okay, so how does it work?
Okay, first of all, the effect that doesn't require you to have Eye of Selene is when you activate this card, you banish Evil Eye from the graveyard and draw a card. So it already replenishes itself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you simply draw 1 card. The
Well,
second effect is
it's not mandatory too, right? Because it says
yeah,
you
it's not
can.
mandatory.
So you don't have to do it if there's something in the grave you want to hang on to.
Because it is a really easy card to activate, this is one of the cards you probably want to activate to make your Selene, the monster equipped by Selene bigger. Because you activate Evil Eye,
Oh, okay.
you lose
Yep.
500 life points, and that monster gains 500 attack points. And the extra effect of Repose is like if your Evil Eye monster that equipped as Evil Eye Selene attacked an opponent's monster, you banish that opponent's monster, not targeting after damage calculation. So let's say Medusa equipped with Selene, you activate the Eye of Evil Eye Repose, you banish a card from the graveyard, you draw 1, then you attack with that Medusa into Casitas. You take some damage, but you like to take damage in this deck anyway, and you banish the Casitas. And now every time your opponent will try to go for Purgatrio because there are no fire monsters in the deck right now due to the ban list, you can simply banishing every Sabers from the graveyard with Medusa.
That's nice. Yeah. But you're gonna end up killing yourself in the process.
Yes,
you're gonna take damage getting rid of the Cassitis. You're gonna take damage getting rid of their element sabers. You're gonna have 500 life points, and then you're gonna be kind of backed into a corner.
yes, but like at some point you can use Storm on your Celine.
Just get it out of there, and you get to
Yeah, because
keep the
the
attack.
attack boost is permanent, even if
Nice.
Celine leaves the field. Or you can equip it with different Celine, for example, with the different equip. It's still treated as a Celine, and you can still banish cards.
Right, and then since you're down to 500 life points, and let's say your opponent's at 4,000, you get a 3,500 attack bonus.
Yes. And two final tricks I would like to say about this deck. First trick is how to not die of your own Celine. Let's say you have the Medusa equipped with Celine and you had Trap card on your side of the field.
Yeah.
So your opponent activates the effect of Spectral Sword and the Graveyard, and you have only 500 life points. It's like, if you want negate it, you're probably gonna be die anyway due to Sun Saga or Shogun Saga, the one he will summon. So you banish that Spectral Sword with Medusa effect. In the process, you chain your trap card, bouncing your Medusa. So in a new chain, Celine will not take your life points because it's no longer in the field.
Okay. So
So
chain
that's
link 1, you're banishing. You're using Medusa's effect to banish, and then you chain to that the trap, and then using the trap, you bounce the Medusa back.
and you can also bounce out something from opponents if you want.
Okay.
It's like 2 bounce.
So that way, Medusa leaves the field, your equipped spell goes to the grave, no one gets burned, but the Medusa effect still goes off on Chain Link 1.
Yes,
Okay.
correct. And the lethal play that I like mentioned already a bazillion times today is you need to have 2,000 life points to make this lethal play. There should be an equipped spell, the Gorgon, in your graveyard, Medusa in your hand, and Celine with another Evil Eye in your graveyard.
Okay.
So first, what you do, you activate this Celine, you banish that other Evil Eye card, you set it on your field.
Okay.
You then normal summon. You have now 1,000 life points. You normal summon Medusa and get back the other equip spell. Then you activate Celine on the Medusa, and then you activate Gorgon on the Medusa. Now you are at 500 life points due to Celine. You get boosted to, let's say, you lost 500 life points. So from Celine you get 500 attack points, and let's say your opponent had 4,000 life points. So difference is 35. So if my calculations are correct, it is 14 plus 500 plus 35. Your attack is 5,400.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty good, I would say.
Yeah, that's like the lethal play. So you are bouncing monsters with a trap card, and as soon as you see there's like no delay on the backer cards, or like you suspect no Sphere Karibo, go for that lethal play.
Right. I'll have to remember that. I'm gonna watch my own video this time because I'm playing this deck, and I don't know if you saw the pack opening video, but I spent a lot of money on the box, and I did not get enough to play Witchcrafters, so I ended up with Evil Eye. So I've been playing the hell out of this deck, and it's a lot of fun. So I'll have to try a lot of these tips and tricks that you're giving. I did want to get into kind of like the tech choices that we're gonna. Do you have any idea yet? I mean, there's only been a handful of tournaments since the deck came out.
Yeah, there's not much of a tournament, but what I can recommend already, what I have in my mind already is like Dark Magician matchup is pretty hard.
Yes.
So first card I would recommend siding, for example, against Dark Magician, Chaos Hunter. Like here in this deck, it helps a lot more than it gives you harm. When your opponent special summons a monster, you discard a card, you special summon this card from your hand, your opponent cannot banish cards. First card, Cosmic Cyclone. Never life ever again.
Okay.
Second, your opponent cannot banish with Circle. Third,
Nice.
your opponent cannot banish with Spellbook of Fate. I don't know, like if spellbooks are relevant right now, but
coming back, yeah.
Like even if they summon Priestess is also banishing High Priestess of Prophecy, and Chaos Hunter is pretty good to stop that.
Okay.
And the best part is that you discard a card. So next turn, Medusa can just retrieve the card.
Right.
It's not like you lose a lot of advantage by using this card. It is also themed like the archetype, so you might even consider that as a part of archetype. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, they're at least related. They're cousins.
Yeah,
At
they're
least.
pretty cousin. And another card that is pretty good against Dark Magician is Evil Eye uh, Contribution. It's a quick play.
Okay.
The middle one, yeah. Oh, Confrontation. Okay, yeah. Basically, it's a searchable out to circle, the Dark Magical Circle. If you control an Evil Eye monster, you target a spell trap card your opponent controls, destroy it. And if you do, if Celine you have on the start of the field, you banish that destroyed card. The second part, it doesn't matter. The first part matters more.
Right.
This card can out also a Nengi Nightmare. A Nengi Nightmare is a pain in the ass against this deck. And a lot of decks, Shiranui, Sabers, are citing a Nengi Nightmare already to play against Black Wings and Dark Magician, for example.
Yeah, they flip it and just hit your field spell as soon as you bring it out.
Yeah, it can destroy
You lay down your
spell,
field spell and they nail it, and then since it's a field spell, it has to be on the field to get its effect. So you start with kind of a bricky hand. You got the field spell, you play it, they pop it. You're not getting your Medusa.
Yes. So with that, Confrontation might actually help a lot. So these are the tech cards that I feel like
those are
to
the best ones so
board's
far.
matchup. Dark Magician, yeah, I feel like Dark Magician is. I mean, spellbooks are not quite relevant, so I'm not counting them right now. Spellbooks matchup is like really hard too. Against Black Wings, you're fine with Treacherous. Treacherous is probably the best card against Black Wings. If you have both Treacherous and the Defeat, and your opponent doesn't have Cosmic Cyclone, you're in very good position.
So we've been talking a lot about the pros of the deck, you know, what it can do. What can't it do? Where are the holes right now?
OTK turn 2.
It cannot?
It cannot OTK turn 2. I'm pretty confident about this.
Yeah, it takes a few turns to start building stuff up, right? Because you got to get your Medusa out, get your Selene equipped to it or whatever, and start building the attack bonus, right?
Yes, but basically, well, actually it can, but like it's very hard. You need to open with a very specific hand of Medusa, Palace, both equipped spells, and probably continuous spell.
Okay, so that's going to happen one in every 300 games, but...
Yeah, so technically it can, but not realistically.
So we're not OTKing. What else? What else? Like I was saying before, Selene is easily banished rather than destroyed, right? Or
yeah,
they can target your. I'm sorry, they can target your spell when they can't target your monster. So you put the equipped spell onto Medusa. She's fine. She can't be banished by Circle, but they can just pop your. They can pop your Selene.
Yeah, they can pop Selene, and that's the problem. Like, let's say you're riding a bike and you have helmet, but you fall off. Your helmet saves you. But without that helmet, unfortunately...
Someone banishes your helmet as you fall off.
Yeah.
That's gotta suck.
Yeah, and you struck your head. And it's like, maybe I should either wear a better helmet or use a better bike.
Right. That's great. I'm going to think about that all the time now when I'm playing. Yeah, and then like tournament success, we haven't seen anything yet. We've seen it like in, I don't know, I've seen it like in 2 or 3 tournaments max. So the deck's not even been out a week. So I think it's too early to say that anything about it tournament wise, right? You can definitely hit Cog with it. You can hit Cog with anything. But tournament, I think it's just way too early.
I think we need to wait for the balance for this deck to be explosive. Like, let's see. I'm just gonna say that Black Wings and Dark Magician are on the so much higher standard than every other new box right now. Like, Dark Magician and Black Wings are capable of every single thing the new box decks can do at the same time.
Well, I was trying to. I do have enough of the Witchcrafters to play, you know, some decks. At least try the cards out. And every time I was playing a deck with them in it, because a lot of them are like hybrid decks, I'm just like, why wouldn't you just play like the original deck, because people are like saying, "Oh, play Invoked Witchcrafters." I'm like, well, why wouldn't you just play Invoked Element Sabers? It's a better version of this. Or people are playing, say, play Lightsworn Witchcrafters, and it's like, why wouldn't you just play any other Lightsworn deck over this one? It doesn't. They don't seem to really mesh with anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're like pretty gonna be pure control. Maybe
Right.
some pies would be fine in like upcoming tournaments, but I don't think so.
So with Evil Eyes, I think there's a deck here. You just have to figure out how to play it. Is it going to be super meta? I don't know, but it is a fun deck to play, and I hope that it gets optimized and figured out because I'm really enjoying it right now.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Not gonna lie.
If you want, let's go over real quick some of the matchups. I'm just going to do it from the top of my head here, though. Kristrons.
Either the most easiest matchup I think from all.
No, no, they're the best deck in the game, Mithyard.
Just because like if you have Selene equipped to Medusa, they cannot play the game unless they like rip a Cosmic Cyclone. But like you also have a trap card, so you can
Banish their tuners or banish. Yeah.
you can banish the Sylphefner. You're banishing the level 3 guy, the Thisteren and Smiger. You banish anything that tuner can target. This is one of the best matchups for this deck for sure.
All right. Shiranui.
Another second best matchup, just because.
All right.
The problem here, why it's like not the best one, Shiranui plays a lot of real back row cards.
Right.
Like Floodgate, Ballista, and going second sometimes is problematic. So you really need to go to open that storm if your opponent has a lot of back row cards.
Okay. What else is there? You mentioned Black Wings. Why don't you go a little bit more in depth with that one?
To play versus Black Wings, you either need to open Treacherous and get into your second trap, the defeat, or you just hope your opponent doesn't have Cosmic Cyclone to deal with one of them, because they can easily play through one, either Treacherous or defeat, if they're a good Blackwing player. If they're a like trash Blackwing player, they're gonna normal Simoon, normal Zephyrus, and lose to Treacherous.
Okay. So it can be tough just because they can play through your tech cards, your Treacherous or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Dark Magician we've kind of talked about a lot because they can banish things rather than destroy them. That makes it tough. And they can negate, right? If they get a navigation off, that can be a little tough too.
They can negate. They can negate the Selene effect, the Gorgon. Unfortunately, Medusa banish only monsters, not cards.
That was a con I wanted to bring up quick. We'll go back to it real quick. This deck doesn't have any built-in negates.
Yes, no negates. It's like people call this deck Helmet, but you are not building your tower. You're not protecting your tower. You don't care about your tower, to be honest. You care about the foundation of the tower. Selene is the foundation. Medusa is the tower. You don't care about tower. You're gonna bounce the tower every single time you want with trap to loop the trap. You care about Selene. You care about foundation.
Right. Okay. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Cyber Dragons. Are we worried about them at all?
Going second might be hard, and that's why we play 3 storms.
Okay. Heroes. Either version. Regular heroes.
You just can banish Malicious, you can banish Celestial, you can banish any card you can target with Lion, and like it's hard to play through defeat, I would like to say.
All right.
And you have 5,000 life points, so you probably not even get OTK with 3 mass change, 3 Yankees attacking directly. That's not enough.
What about my favorite Neos?
The spell card, the Repose, kind of helps here. Also Storm, once again, Storm to clear that favorite hero is a good card there.
Okay, I'm trying to think. Blue Eyes, are we worried about Blue Eyes?
Blue Eyes, no.
No? Why are you even bringing that up? I'm just trying to think of other matchups people might see on the ladder.
There is one card that can make this matchup pretty problematic. That's the White Spirit of Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Not the Synchro, maybe I messed his name. The level 8 guy that banishes spell and traps on summon. So when they summon... Yeah, Blue Dragon Spirit of White.
Yep.
So when they summon that during the end phase with a stone, you are forced to use a trap card to return his monster and your monster, so your Selene never get banished. So it a bit if they bring that monster, if it becomes a bit slow, you're gonna bounce every single tuner they're gonna summon, and without them, they cannot summon the monster too, the blue-white monsters.
All right, I'm just looking at the tier list here to make sure I got everything. The only thing I
Element
missed was
Sabers. Element Sabers.
Element
The
Sabers.
final
Yep.
one. As I said, Casada's out is repos. Malehu cannot target your Medusa because of Selene. Going second helps with the help of Storm. And you just simply cannot afford to lose the Purgatrio because Medusa plus Selene will banish every single Saber that hits the graveyard.
And then one last one. I don't know
And
if you're
even,
worried.
well, I think I want to
Oh
say
yeah,
about
yeah, yeah.
Sabers. Even if they manage to summon Purgatory or Earth, they attack into your monster, the Palace triggers draw.
All right then. And then Ritual Beasts.
Ritual Based. Ritual Based is such a complicated deck to
Yeah,
analyze. If they open Elder Conahawk, no decks in the current meta can compete with that.
that's
The
tough.
way they are searching, they are controlling the board, how many times they can dodge any cards, basically.
And
That
if you banish
yeah,
something from their grave, they're just like, "Thank you."
yes,
You know, if you
yes.
I for whatever reason their pinky's in the grave and you banish it for them, they're like, "Oh, thanks. Now I'm just gonna bounce you next turn."
But if they are not starting that strong, for example, win the pass, you just bounce the trap card becomes so good because every
Right,
time they normal summon the second monster, you just bounce them back both, and they cannot normal summon again, and you
right.
just do that again and again and again.
Yep. So I think overall, this deck does have a lot of potential. It just has to be seen in the future. Like you said, a ban list would definitely help this thing a lot. We all know one's coming, but when is it going to be? Is it going to be after Worlds? Is it going to be before? We don't know. So we're just going to have to sit and wait and see. I hope it comes soon enough that this deck doesn't get forgotten. Because what I'm afraid of is there's going to be some tournaments. It's not going to perform well. People are going to move on. And then it just kind of goes into the history books. So hopefully the ban list comes soon enough and makes this deck relevant.
Yeah, and this is not a very old archetype from TCG. I think it's only 1 year. It came either a year ago or even less than a year. So another new
Okay.
archetype, and they
Nice.
didn't give us two broken cards.
No,
Uh,
no. I think it's a fair deck. Like we said, it doesn't have like built-in negates, so it has its minuses. You know, it has its positives, but it's not a tier 0. It's not the new hotness. It's not going to destroy the meta, and I like that. I think it's a good healthy deck for the
it's
meta right
more
now.
fun and better Yosenju.
Right. All right, we're going to get out of here, guys. Thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out Gamersupps. They're our new sponsor. We're affiliated with them. They help us fund our tournaments, hopefully in the future. Anything you want to say, Mithyard?
Have fun playing Evilized, guys.
All right, and we'll see you next time. I'm Circus. That's Mithyard. Have a good day.